Today on Judge Faith. This best friend says he did his fair share.
He didn't charge me a set rent, but I paid bills over in the house, and I did all the cooking in the house. He never cooked anything. He didn't do any of the cleaning, and that was the deal.
But his former roommate thinks otherwise.
His excuse is, when I sell a house, I got you. I got you, I got you. He's been telling me that for 5 years. I got you covered, I got you covered. So, I mean, enough is enough is enough is enough is enough.
And Judge Faith sees through the stories.
Your first excuse for the promissory note is he was drunk. Your second excuse for getting paint on the jacket is he's bipolar.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor, and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real, and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Shimean Young is suing his former best friend for $9,573, saying he owes for a loan as well as destroyed comic books and other belongings. Defendant Darren Gray says he doesn't owe anything and is countersuing for $95 for a new door lock.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this case is Young versus Gray.
Thank you, Barbara. Shimean Young,
Yes, ma'am.
you are suing Darren Gray for $9,573.
Yes, ma'am.
For damaged comic books, an unpaid loan, and personal property damage.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $95. You say he owes you for an unpaid door lock.
That's correct.
How do you know Mr. Gray?
Well, we met about 7 years ago through a mutual friend. My mother had just passed away, and he was going through a similar situation where his mother was getting ready to be deceased. So we kind of connected. I'm an only child. His brother is not in his life, so it was just me and him against the world, so to speak.
How did he come to live with you?
After his mother passed away, his housing arrangement was in limbo because he didn't have a place to stay. So I was going to college at the time. He was a former teacher, and he would help me with my homework. He did my Spanish homework for me. He's very smart. You know, he's stupid in other areas, but he's very smart. And so he helped me with my homework, and we just became close. And he didn't have a place to stay. I felt bad for him, so I let him stay with me.
Okay, and why did you need a place to stay?
Well, because I was staying with people and it wasn't working out, and I wanted to get my own place. And I was working on getting an apartment. So in the interim, for a couple months, I wound up moving in with him.
Were you a professor somewhere? Were you teaching Spanish?
No, I never taught Spanish. I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It was years ago in Newark.
Okay, do you work now?
Right now, I'm out of work.
How long have you been out of work?
I would say about 5 years since I had a career-wise full-time job.
How do you support yourself now?
Well, right now I do odd jobs. I walk dogs, I train dogs, and I get paid, for doing that.
How much do you make walking dogs and doing odd jobs?
Anywhere between $200 to $500 a week. It depends on what it's like for that week. It just varies. It's not anything stable.
And where do you live right now?
In Brooklyn, a couple blocks from him.
Do you pay rent?
Yes.
How much do you pay?
The rent is $1,200.
How do you afford $1,200 a month in rent if you're only making a few $100s a week walking dogs and doing odd jobs?
Well, I have savings as well, and I'm dipping into that because sometimes I make enough for the month and sometimes I don't, and I have to go into the savings or whatever.
So he moves in with you, and how long ago was this?
This was in 2008.
And what was your relationship like when he moved in?
In the beginning, it was fine. I had someone to talk to. Like I said, I'm an only child. I didn't have brothers and sisters, so he was like my brother. He would help me cook. He would help me with laundry. And in Brooklyn, it's kind of dangerous, so I didn't feel too vulnerable because someone else was in my apartment with me. And it was fine until about the next year, I just noticed that he's a freeloader, Your Honor.
Well, was he paying rent?
No, I didn't charge him rent at all.
Okay.
I didn't want him to go to the shelter because they would have did something to him. If he would have tried all of the things that he'd done to me in the shelter, they would have hurt him. So I wanted him to stay with me.
What kind of things did he do to you?
Well, just lying, lazy, manipulative, these sort of behaviors.
Can you give me specific examples?
Oh, sure, Your Honor. I would try to wake him up every morning. He wouldn't get up. But as soon as I turn on the stove something cooking, he pops right up. Or he doesn't get up, Darren, get up, Darren, get up, Darren, get up. But as soon as I light a cigarette, he pops right up.
He never, Your Honor.
Every morning, that's how I have to get him up.
Was he working?
No, he wasn't working.
Okay.
No, when I moved in with him, I wasn't working. But I had money on the side. He didn't charge me a set rent, but I paid bills over in the house, and I did all the cooking in the house. He never cooked anything. He didn't do any of the cleaning, and that was the deal. You come and help with the house, and you help bring the food, and you help with the bills. It was like the electricity bill, the cable bill, the phone bill, and I chipped in for all of that, and I just didn't pay rent because he paid the rent.
Okay, and how long did you live there under that arrangement?
Ooh, I'm not even sure. I would say
2 years, Your Honor.
It wasn't 2. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It wasn't even a year, Your Honor. We were both in recovery before moving into the apartment.
Recovery for what?
For drugs and alcohol, for him,
Okay.
alcohol. And he had a couple of relapses, not long. They would just last for like a day or two, whatever. But whenever he would relapse, everything would go crazy in the house. He would have people over, things would break, he would blame me for everything. And I had left. He had given me 3 weeks, so everything was fine. He met a girl and he said, I'm moving the girl in, you have to leave in 3 weeks. Moved me out, then said, don't worry, I'm not gonna let you go without anything. I'm gonna give you something.
You were in recovery during this entire time period?
Yes.
And if he was relapsing, as you say, and you're in recovery, don't you think it would be incumbent upon you to move if that's what was going on?
Well, I didn't have a place to go. I was trying to get a place. Didn't want to, jump into anything. I wanted to get a nice apartment. I wanted to have all the money saved up.
Well, you said but you said you had savings.
At the time, I didn't have savings.
Okay, so you're not working when you're living with him. How are you making money to pay all the bills and do all the cooking as you claim you were doing?
I had side jobs. I would do different things. It was in the same neighborhood. I didn't have my dog yet, but I was already walking dogs in the neighborhood, and I was getting money for that. And people were paying pretty good money to walk dogs.
No, it isn't, Your Honor. What he does is he works for cigarettes. That's what he does. He doesn't pay me. He doesn't pay me back anything. He tries to pay me in cigarettes.
Your Honor, he's lying. Your Honor, he's putting on a show. I don't know what he's doing.
I'll be the judge of whether or not he's lying.
Coming up on Judge Faith. When comic books are destroyed, so is the friendship.
I've been collecting comic books since I was 12. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing I like. I can relate to superheroes. I'm an only child. I live in a fantasy world sometimes. I can admit that. I went to work. I came back. My comics are shredded.
Plaintiff Shimean Young says he constantly helped his former best friend, but now it's time to pay up. He's suing for loans and destroyed comic books. Defendant Darren Gray says he doesn't owe his friend anything.
You say that he owes you for comic books and an unpaid loan and several household items.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's start with the unpaid loan.
The unpaid loan. In New York, we had a catastrophe, Superstorm Sandy, and he had to go down south because his godchildren were in trouble. He had to relocate them, and he was crying, hysterical, because he didn't have anywhere to get these 2 boys out down to Delaware. And so I was shoveling. If you remember, 3 years ago, the city of New York was covered in a blanket of snow, and I was on the sanitation relief. I made a whole slew of money, and I saved it because I'm trying to get a vehicle. I had $3,000 that I saved up. I wanted giving him enough money for him to go down south with his boys in his hectic situation, whatever it was. And as thirsty as it is, he signed a promissory note saying that he would pay me back.
Okay, let me see the promissory note. Did you sign the promissory note?
I did. He was drunk when I signed it. He was drunk, but he's telling the story
he
wrong.
was drunk when you signed the promissory note. So why is that relevant?
Because he was flipping out. I had just signed it to get him out of my family. But I did borrow the money from him, but he's telling the story wrong.
Wait, so he was, hold on a second. So he was drunk. Hold on a second.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying he was drunk when he wrote out this promissory note,
I didn't take it seriously.
He wasn't too. You didn't take it, but you took the money seriously when he gave it to you, didn't you?
Absolutely. Yes, but it wasn't for what he's saying. The money was for his.
This is your signature on this, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you signed it, right?
Yes, I did. But he's not telling me.
Did you pay back $2,700? Did you pay him back $2,700?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay, and what's your defense for not paying him back?
Because we had started fighting, and I started reconsidering everything.
I don't care if you started fighting. I don't care if you like him or not.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not the basis for you paying him back. It doesn't say, if I like you, I will pay you back this money.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
So you also state in your complaint that he destroyed a jacket that you own.
Yes, I lent him a jacket because he had a court case or something he had to go to, and I got a bubble it was a bubble Calvin Klein, a leather and goose on the inside, bubble, with the price tag on it still, because that's how we walk our clothes in New York, so everybody can see how much we paid. I let him wear my brand new jacket. I didn't even wear it yet. He comes back with paint all over the sleeve like he leaned up against something. And I said, yo, what's up with my jacket? His response was, color it with a marker.
This isn't true what's going on. It had gotten real cold. I was going to get a jacket. He pulled out this bubble jacket, because it wasn't court. I had to go downtown for something. I wasn't in court. He had said, you can have this jacket. It wasn't a Sean John or whatever he said.
Your Honor.
It was a Tenant name, you know, just a no name. And it was a bubble. It was warmer than what I had.
But it was his jacket.
He gave it to me. He said, you can have this. And when I came home, he said, what happened to the jacket? I told him on the subway. I leaned on the thing. I saw the sign on the floor. Someone had pulled the rope down. I had asked him for a black marker. I said, because I'm still going to wear this for a couple of days. I wanted to see if I can at least, so I don't have to wear it with the green, I was going to put the black on it. But it wasn't to give it, I didn't tell him, here, fix your jacket. He gave me that jacket. He said, I won't wear this.
So
he said, I only wear names. I only wear name brands. I don't want this. This is a piece of junk. You can have it. I said, yeah, it's going to keep me warm. I had a wool jacket, but the temperature had dropped.
When you come back with the paint on the bubble jacket.
Thinking it's my jacket now because he gave it to me.
What was his response to seeing the paint on the bubble jacket?
I just gave it, one day you had the jacket, look what you did already. I said, I didn't see the paint on it.
So would he be that upset if it was a gift to you?
Thank you.
Yes, he's bipolar. He flips at everything.
Your first excuse for the promissory note is he was drunk. Your second excuse for getting paint on the jacket is he's bipolar. Let's go to the next issue, the comic books.
My comic book, Your Honor, I have 7,000. I've been collecting comic books since I was 12. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing I like. I can relate to superheroes. I'm an only child. I live in a fantasy world sometimes. I can admit that. And I'm an avid collector. I go to the conventions. I met Stan Lee 4 times. He knows this. So when the Guardians of the Galaxy movie came out, I had a stack of the Guardian of the Galaxy comic books because I was going to take pictures and put them on eBay. I don't know how to do all of that stuff. I asked him. I put the stack out. He knows he knows how I am about my comic books. So I put all of the Guardian Galaxies from 1 to 30, and I have here the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon, which is a valuable comic. I wanted him to take pictures of them and put them on eBay for me.
You were going to sell them on eBay?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to work. I came back. My comics are shredded, destroyed.
How?
He's mangy mutt that he has.
Okay, well, hold on a second. How long was the dog? This was his dog that he had, right?
Yes.
The entire time that he lived there, he had a dog?
No, Your Honor.
After I got my own place,
Let me explain real fast. He has his own place now. He got a dog for the same reason. We live in a rough neighborhood, so he figured a pit bull will kind of hold him down for intruders, burglars. But this pit bull the pit bull is bipolar. So
Your Honor,
he can't have dogs in his building. So when the inspectors come to his building, he has to rush the dog away and hide him. So I agreed that I would let him put the dog in my backyard. I instructed him, keep the dog in the backyard. He brought the dog inside anyway, and that's when the damages get destroyed.
But have you had issues with the dog on an ongoing basis?
I've had issues, yes I have, Your Honor.
Okay, tell me about before the comic books, what issues you had with his dog?
His dog peed all over my bed and all over my couch.
Okay, but you still, when the inspectors come, you still say it's okay for him to bring his dog over?
Put the dog in the backyard. I have a backyard in my building. He could chain the dog up outside. I hate dogs, Your Honor.
What proof do you have that his dog destroyed almost $3,000 worth of comic books? Well, I'm not going to speculate.
I have the pictures of the shredded comic books.
Tell me about the incident with the comic books.
He knew I was coming over with the dog. He knew she was in the chewing stage. He used to give her a cane and say chew. I never put the dog in his backyard because it's not a house, it's a building. Something spilled onto the comics, and he saw that my dog spilled something, knocked something over onto the comics. Just water. And so they had gotten wet. They weren't ruined yet. He left them there. He went to show me something on the computer. We went into the other room. We came out.
That's not true.
She did the stuff that you saw. She ripped all the stuff up.
That's not true.
Okay.
It is true.
And we have photos of those comics?
Shredded.
And he knew she was in a chewing stage.
Okay.
She was still younger then when she did that.
Your Honor, the bottom line is I gave him permission to bring his dog over, but I said you have to leave the dog in the back.
The dog was never
come back, the dog is in the house.
All right, I've heard enough. I've heard enough about the dog.
Next on Judge Faith, consequences of browsing sexy sites.
I go to Seattle because one of my classmates, we went to a reunion. I come back, and what's on my computer? All these porn sites, everything. And he shut it down, got virused out. I had to get a new computer.
Plaintiff Shimean Young says his former best friend owes for a loan and damaging his property. Defendant Darren Gray says he's not responsible for the damage.
What's your counterclaim for $95 for door locks?
We were best friends, Your Honor. We always helped each other out. 3 times he had to have his locks changed.
Why have you had to have your locks changed
I'll tell
3
you.
times?
I'll tell you. He's going to tell you.
Bad relationships.
Bad relationships?
Yes.
Oh, it must be really bad if you're changing your locks 3 times.
One girl kicked the computer, broke his computer. I bought him the new computer.
No, you didn't.
He paid me back. Yes, I did. I bought you the computer.
He's a lie.
I'm not.
So why are you
I'm not
charging
lying.
him for $95 for
Because the
door
last
locks?
time he never paid me back for the lock.
You're living with someone for free. No one lives with anyone for free. So as far as I'm concerned, you got over, okay? And now you're countersuing him for $95 for locks?
Because we resolved all these issues, and now he's suing
Well,
me. so
no,
I
it's
put
not
it up.
resolved because I have a promissory note here. You said you never paid it.
And with my computer, Your Honor, I left. When I first moved in, I didn't have that much money. I said, Darren, I don't have virus guard, so please Facebook only. I go to Seattle because one of my classmates, we went to a reunion. I come back, and what's on my computer? All of these porn sites,
Not true.
everything. And he shut it down, got virused out, I had to get a new computer. And one day,
not true.
and then
Not
his
true.
friend that he let in scratched up my floors. I don't know what they were doing in my bedroom. Scratched up the floors, everything was in disarray. I'm also suing for the damages. He burned my floor with a cigarette. When he was living, there was numerous damages.
It's not
He
true.
burned my couch with a
the
cigarette.
truth.
He burned the floor with a cigarette. There's more than 9,000. Over 7 years, this guy's had a multitude of damages. You could ask him.
Let me ask you a question.
true. I don't
Stop,
want
just stop. Why are you bringing this lawsuit now, years later, for things that happened back in 2009, 2010? I mean, you're suing for a course of events that have happened over the years. Why are you doing this now?
The final straw was when I lent him the $2,200. I was expecting to get it. He made it seem, he has a house in Jersey, okay, that has a lot of repairs being done to it before it could be on the market. He made it seem to me like, Shimean, when I sell my house this year, I'm gonna pay you back. That's always been his excuse. He just lied to you when you said, what's the excuse for not paying the money? His excuse is, when I sell a house, I got you. I got you, I got you. He's been telling me that for 5 years. I got you covered, I got you covered. So, I mean, enough is enough, enough is enough is enough. I'm still waiting for my money, and he keeps telling me, I got you covered. He's still adding the bill. Every time he needs a pack of cigarette, put it on my bill, put it on my bill, put it on my bill. And I'm still waiting for this house, this imaginary house to be sold. So
Okay.
that's why enough is enough. I'm angry. I want to
Okay.
fight this dude.
Well, no, you don't want to fight him. I don't want you to catch a case behind this. It's not worth it. Now, Mr. Gray, what happened with the computer?
There was another friend of ours, another mutual friend. I had asked him if he can let the friend stay there, because this was going back when he had.
And I said no.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't say no. The guy messed up his computer. The guy burnt his couch, and I don't know anything about this.
So it was a friend
about
of
the
yours
scratches.
who came in.
A mutual friend. It was my friend. I asked him. He didn't want the kid to come in because
Thank
of
you. I didn't want him to come in.
I asked him to please let him in. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna make sure he's not gonna do any damages. I wasn't there. I was gone for the weekend when the guy came.
What kind of computer was it?
Dell.
What kind of
It
computer?
was a Dell computer.
What year?
It was 2009.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
Let's address your counterclaim first for $95. That's dismissed. Now let's get to your claim. You have a promissory note, a written note, and you admit to signing it, and I find your defense in not paying him back to be ridiculous and unacceptable. You owe him $2,200. In addition, I'm going to order you to pay him for the computer because you allowed someone else to come in and damage his computer. And so I'm going to order you to pay him $300. As far as the comic books, I think you allowed that dog to be inside of your apartment on more than one occasion, and I think that you left the comic books out, and you shouldn't have. If they're that valuable to you, and they mean that much to you, and you know that a dog is going to be in the vicinity of those comic books, then you don't leave them out. And in addition, sir, you really can't prove value to me. You gave me one example, and that's not sufficient proof. I'm not going to order him to pay you almost $3,000 for comic books. Based on all the evidence I've heard, I'm going to order you to pay the plaintiff $2,500. $2,200 for the loan and $300 for the Dell desktop. That's my judgment. Good luck.
Today on Judge Faith, these two lovebirds bought a camper together. Then he took off across the country with it and stuck her with the payments.
You purchased a camper together?
Yes, but he was buying it.
She was more excited about the RV than I was. I just told her, look, I'm gonna go on my own trip, see my brother in Oklahoma.
From that day to this day, have you ever seen the camper again?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever seen him again?
And later, she rented her home to a woman who has excuse after excuse for why she couldn't pay the rent.
Do you have evidence of the months that they failed to pay rent?
I have a ledger.
You admit that you didn't pay. Why?
The house wasn't properly insulated.
Are you telling me you withheld rent because it was too cold in the home?
No, there was a leak from the roof.
So was it that the leak wasn't as bad in certain months, the months that you did pay rent?
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor, and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real, and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Sharon Backen says that her ex-boyfriend took off with a camper they purchased together and stuck her with the bills. She is suing to get her money back. Defendant Steven Zaski says he's been paying off the camper for years and only stopped when he couldn't get insurance. He is countersuing for the return of his deposit.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this case is Bakken versus Zaski.
Thank you, Barbara. Sharon Bakken,
Yes.
you were suing the defendant, Steve Zaski,
Yes,
for
Your
$7,942 for an unpaid camper loan.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $2,000 for a refund of the down payment for the camper
Yes,
that's
Your
in
Honor.
dispute in this case? Okay, and you understand, ma'am, that the statutory maximum in my court is $5,000?
Yes, ma'am.
So in September of 2009, the two of you purchased a camper together?
Yes, but he was buying it. He negotiated the price for the camper.
That's
He filled
not
out
true.
the application. The salesman came back and said, I'm sorry, we cannot finance you. And that's when he looked at me and he said, the payments are only $139 a month. I'll have it paid off in no time.
And that's
Okay,
not
what
true.
do you say
So I
happened,
did it.
sir?
We went to the dealership together, and she was more excited about the RV than I was. You know, she liked going on trips to Mississippi, seeing her folks in Florida, friends, and we did traveling together there for a couple, 2 or 3 months. And I figured, you know, if she wanted to finance it, I was okay with that. And she was more than willing to go ahead and sign for everything. I put down $2,000 on it, and
And what was the
went from
total
there.
price for the camper?
Right around $8,000 or $9,000.
So at this time, the two of you, is this a serious relationship because you're thinking that this is all going to work out? You're putting a down payment down and all of these payments, but the title is in your name?
Yeah, you know, we'd been together quite a few months. We was getting along pretty good, other than the fact, you know, she was drinking too much. You know,
That is not true, Your Honor.
And she started accusing me of seeking other relationships, and I was just very discontent with that, and I was like, whatever, I just go to bed. And
He was.
And after our trips together, I just told her, look, I'm gonna go on my own trip, see my brother in Oklahoma. And I wasn't gone 2 or 3 days. She emailed me this Dear John letter saying that she was through with me.
How long after you purchased the camper did you take this trip to Oklahoma by yourself and you say she wrote you a letter?
I'm thinking it was about 3 or 4 months.
Okay, and is this the kind of camper, do you have a photo of the camper? I'd like to see it.
I do.
So this is the kind of camper you attach to a truck or a vehicle and it pulls the camper along with it, right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so you are having some problems in the relationship and he decides to take this camper on a trip to Oklahoma. From that day to this day, have you ever seen the camper again?
No, ma'am.
Or have you ever seen him again?
No.
Coming up on Judge Faith, she realizes that purchasing a camper and putting the title in her name probably wasn't such a good idea.
There was nothing I could do. They started calling me. So
Right.
I had to start making the payments.
And that is exactly why these kind of transactions and deals don't work.
And later, Judge Faith schools the defendant.
When people are in college and they get student loans and they're using a portion of that to pay rent, they keep part of that money for the summertime when they're not in school so they know that their rent is covered for the entire year. Did you not do that?
No.
Okay.
Plaintiff Sharon Backen says her ex-boyfriend took off with their camper and she was left behind to pay the bills. She is suing for her fees and expenses. But defendant Stephen Zaski says he made the payments for years and is countersuing for the return of his money.
When he took this trip to Oklahoma, did you know that he was leaving at the time with the camper?
No, ma'am. I did know he was going to move to California. I just didn't know when. And he decided, armed with our agreement, to take off while I was at work.
That's not
And
true.
what's the agreement you're referring to?
Right here, Your Honor.
May I see it? So the two of you actually entered into a written agreement about
Yes,
the camper
ma'am.
and the payments?
That was an agreement I signed, Your Honor. I was reassuring Ms. Bakken that if I was going to keep the RV, I'd make payments, you know, and we had that agreement.
And how long after you signed this agreement did you leave for Oklahoma, sir?
I think it was 3 months after that. Things went downhill quick.
So according to this agreement, it confirms that you put the down payment for the camper, taxes, insurance, and licensing for a total of $3,000. In addition, it states that you will be responsible for all of the monthly payments.
That's correct.
For the camper. How much were the monthly payments?
$135, and then the insurance.
$135?
Yeah, with the
roughly?
insurance it was like $250, $260.
Okay, and at the end of the payments, ownership of the camper, the title will be transferred from you to you. That's what
That's
you agreed
correct.
to.
Yes.
And then
Yes, Your Honor.
finally, you agree that this document releases the plaintiff from any financial obligations concerning money owed on the camper. So that's basically the essence of the agreement that the two of you entered into.
Yes, Your Honor.
So he leaves shortly after this agreement is entered into. Do you continue to make the monthly payments?
Up until just, a year ago.
At some point, which is what brings us here today, you say that he stopped making payments, breached the contract, and you actually paid the camper off.
Yes, ma'am.
But it's continued to be in his possession during this entire
Yes,
time.
ma'am. The first thing that happened is he let me know that he couldn't afford to pay the payment or get
That's
the
a
tag.
lie.
His truck had broke down and cost him a bunch of money, and he couldn't pay the tag payment or the insurance, and so he asked me to have him defer it, and of course I didn't.
How many payments had he missed when you found out about it?
3 months.
Okay, and how were you notified?
I got online and looked at the account, and I received a bill.
When you realized that he had missed 3 payments,
Right.
how did you reach out to him? What did you do
well,
to contact
I asked him to pay the payment.
And what happened? What was the response?
No response.
And what was the reason? Why did you miss payments on the camper?
Okay, number one, I had a head blew out in my truck. It cost me $2,400 to get it fixed, and I couldn't have the truck unless I paid that. Okay, I came up short, and I asked her for a deferred payment. She said no. That put me 3 months behind.
You were
I needed
3
some
months
help.
behind. And you can understand you fell 3 months behind on the camper, and this is affecting your credit,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. There was nothing I could do. They started calling me. So
Right.
I had to start making the payments.
And that is exactly why these kind of transactions and deals don't work.
Right.
They don't work because the title is in her name. You know, the two of you don't have kids together, but you have tied yourself to this man for years because of this camper. Because the title, when you got it in 2009, was in your name and you're the owner, and you have to rely on him no matter where he is. You have no idea what he's doing. You have to rely on him each and every month for years to make a monthly payment on this camper, and you just don't want to do that. So what you end up doing, so your credit doesn't take a hit,
That's
you end
right.
up paying how much for the camper?
A total of $6,300.
And why don't you think you owe, sir, given the contract that the two of you entered into, that you would be responsible for making all of the payments? Why don't you think you owe?
Because I could not move the camper. It wasn't licensed. I couldn't pull it over the road without getting tickets. She stopped the insurance. She canceled the tag. When I called the insurance, they would not talk to me. They said that Sharon had to talk to them. She wanted me to sell the RV and keep my $2,000, and I had no way of doing that. I mean, this is what I had to deal with.
You have
the evidence, Your
a
Honor.
counterclaim for $2,000, sir. What is that for?
It is for the down payment of the RV. I also came out of pocket with the down payment on the insurance and things like that. Now, that vehicle was for both of our use. Now she's pretending like it was all mine and my idea. It wasn't.
She hasn't used it for the past 5-6 years.
Well, I don't
So
think
with the
that's
intent,
correct.
I don't care what the intent was, I'm telling you what the reality is of the situation.
All right.
Where's the camper now?
It is outside of Las Vegas in a town called Courtroom.
Why is it there?
Because it can't be moved because there's no insurance or tags on it.
Okay. You want the camper back, or do you want him to pay you for the camper?
I want the money that I have spent on the camper.
Do you have a copy of the title with you?
Yes.
May I see it, please? Thank you. Here's what we're going to do. Based on the agreement that the two of you entered into, sir, in 2009, you promised that you would make the payments on this camper, and you absolved her of any financial responsibility to this camper in terms of making the payments.
All right.
You stopped making payments on the camper. You breached the contract, and I find the reasons that you gave the court today as far as your defense for breaching the contract to be insufficient. So I find that you do owe for this camper. She should not have been the one to have to pay off this camper. You've had it for the last 5 years. You absolved her for financial responsibility. She paid it off because she wanted to protect her credit, which is what honorable people do. They pay their bills when they come due, sir. You understand? So I'm ordering you to pay her $5,000. That's the statutory maximum in my courtroom. I'm ordering you to pay her $5,000 for the camper. And Ms. Bakken, I'm asking you to turn over the title to the camper. So what I need for you to do is to sign over the title and send it to my clerk.
Okay.
Once we get possession of the title, we will then, and once he's made the payments to you, we will then send the title to you, sir. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, on your counterclaim for the down payment of the camper, 0. You have now purchased yourself a 2008 camper, and I wish you good luck with it, sir. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Plaintiff Carrie Pinsonneau rented her home to a struggling student from Canada. She says the defendant gave excuse after excuse to not pay rent. She is suing for past due rent payments. Defendant Valentina Herbert says there were problems with the home from the beginning and doesn't feel she owes the homeowner any more than she already paid.
Carrie Pinsonneau?
Yes, ma'am.
You are suing the defendant Valentina Herbert?
Yes.
For $3,389 for unpaid rent, utilities, and court costs.
Yes, ma'am.
So I assume that Ms. Herbert was your tenant
She
for
was.
a time period? Okay, tell me when.
Her and her roommate moved in end of December for a 6-month lease, and then in July we re-signed a year lease, and
Okay.
they lived there until the end of July.
Can you describe the property for me?
It is a corner lot in town. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home.
So go ahead, tell me what happened after she moves in. What kind of tenant was she?
They were great at first. They paid their rent, and the first 6 months were great.
The first 6-month lease, they
did.
paid rent.
Yep, they were paying rent, and then they were having some problems right at the end. They were behind and they needed some help, and so we agreed to help them out, and they lived up to their agreement.
Okay, so you and your roommate moved into this home. Were you both full-time students? Explain to me what was going on.
Yes, we were both full-time students.
What type of degree were you pursuing?
I'm going for psychology, and
Oh.
he was going for mechanics.
Okay, and you're still in school now?
Yes.
Okay. The first lease they signed was for 6 months. There were no problems with that.
Correct.
It's the next lease, which was a 1-year lease.
Correct.
They signed, there was an issue?
Yes.
Okay, and did you go up on the rent?
No, nothing changed.
Okay, how much were they paying in rent?
$850.
Okay, may I see a copy of that lease?
Yes.
What was going on, ma'am?
Well, semester ended in springtime, and that's when the rent started backing up.
Okay, at the beginning of this lease, ma'am, how were you paying your rent? What was your source of income?
I was getting a school allowance from my tribe.
From your tribe?
Yes.
What tribe is that?
It's called Notkamiwaning First Nation.
Okay, and tell me about how that works.
Well, we get funded for post-secondary education.
So you were getting funding for your tribe and you were using that to pay rent?
Yes.
Okay, and what happened, did at some point after the 6 months when you were paying rent and everything was going well, what happened?
It ends when you're out of school, when the school ends in springtime.
Okay, when people are in college and they get student loans and they're using a portion of that to pay rent, they keep part of that money for the summertime when they're not in school so they know that their rent is covered for the entire year. Did you not do that?
No.
Okay.
Next on Judge Faith.
The issue here is you just didn't have enough money. So why don't you just say that, just get it off your chest in court right now. You just tell me the truth. You'll feel much better about it. You want to tell me?
Plaintiff Carrie Pinsonneau rented her home to a student who doesn't know how to budget her money properly and fell behind on her rent. Defendant Valentina Herbert says she couldn't use part of the home because it was too cold and says the plaintiff had people spying on her, so she refuses to pay.
How much were you getting from the tribe?
I was getting $1,400 a month.
Okay, and your
And
rent,
that's in Canadian funds.
did they know you were going to school in America?
Yes.
Okay, and do you have evidence of the months that they failed to pay rent?
I have a ledger.
May I see it, please? And this is a document that you created?
Yes. And I
How
have
are you
bank
keeping
statements.
how are you keeping track of the rent payments?
I have bank statements and then the
Okay,
ledger.
may I see those as well? Barbara, would you hand those
Yes,
to
Your
me?
Honor.
Ms. Pinsino has kept very detailed records about the months that you were late, you didn't pay rent, or you only paid partial rent. Can you tell me what was going on?
Well, first of all, the house wasn't properly insulated. We couldn't use the one bedroom because it was so cold in the wintertime. We had to close that off just to conserve heat.
When was that?
That was during the winter months.
Okay, but you knew that before you signed.
No.
Was there a problem with the insulation and the heat?
The property management of the city, they inspect the house. It's insulated.
Are you telling me you withheld rent because it was too cold in the home?
No.
Okay.
But I just feel like I don't owe her the money she's trying to sue me
I'm not
for.
asking you what you feel. I'm asking you why you did it. Because you didn't pay. You admit that you didn't pay. I read your answer. You admit that you didn't pay this money. I'm just trying to figure out why.
There was a leak from the roof, and it was coming down from the light sockets, and I
And
just
that's
felt
why you
that-
didn't pay rent?
Yes.
So some months you paid rent, some months you paid partial rent. So was it that the leak wasn't as bad in certain months, the months that you did pay rent?
No. The leak was always there. All they did was come and tape it up.
Did you know anything about a leak?
It leaked in the spring when the snow was melting. And when she reported that, we had someone go clear the snow off, and they put what's called heat tape, which melted the ice. It went down the downspout, and then it stopped leaking.
Is that true?
Yes, and that
What month was that?
Probably March.
March of 2014?
And that was plugged in 24/7.
April, May, June, and July. You didn't pay rent those months after the leak
Yes,
was
because
fixed?
we were so backed up in light bills as well because that thing was plugged in 24/7. And I didn't know if we were ever going to have an electrical fire from water
So
coming
what were
through that
what were
roof.
the reasons you didn't pay rent after the leak was fixed?
It was never fixed. It was still all taped up when we moved out.
So you were withholding rent because that leak was never fixed. That's what you're
Yes.
telling me?
And plus we
You know,
were-
you don't sound very believable right now. What's this in your answer about the neighbors spying on you?
Well, her mother had a friend next door, and we didn't know that we were being watched.
So you thought you had a spy?
Apparently, we had a spy that was reporting to the landlord.
Okay, Ms. Herbert. What is this part of your lawsuit that is miscellaneous cost?
Some of the utilities for that property follow the property, not the tenant. And so when they left the residence, any utilities, any bills that were not paid, I used the deposit and applied that towards the bill. The outstanding utilities that I had to pay out of pocket are the miscellaneous.
How much was their deposit?
$1,000.
I don't understand why you didn't move for an eviction, but now you're filing a lawsuit for $3,000.
I didn't file for eviction sooner because every time I would talk to them, I felt bad. They were in
But you
school,
don't feel
they were
bad
having
now?
a hard time.
Because you're suing them for $3,000? Where do you think they're going to get the money from?
No idea.
The issue here is you just didn't have enough money. So why don't you just say that, just get it off your chest in court right now. You just tell me the truth. You'll feel much better about it. You want to tell me?
And now, Judge Faith rules.
Do you pay rent where you live now?
Yes?
Are you behind?
No?
How much do you pay now?
$625.
Here's what I'm going to do. Based on the ledgers you have provided to me, I am going to order you, ma'am, to pay back rent in the amount of $2,787 in addition to court costs. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Today on Judge Faith, sometimes a bad boy can be good for a girl.
I was shocked that she tried to hit on me at a funeral, but me being me, you know, I'm a ladies' man, so, you know, I gave a little conversation.
He came in that starched jeans, jersey, hair braided, gold, thug. It turned me on.
Are gold teeth still a thing?
And later, she had 99 problems, but cable wasn't one.
Who wants to go to somebody and be like, I'm struggling? They don't know what it's like to struggle. They got mommy and daddy.
I went to my mom and asked her about it, and she said, I need to get the bill out of my name.
Why is the cable bill in her name? Don't tell me, well, Judge, I have to watch Empire on Wednesday nights. I need my cable.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor, and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real, and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Lakeisha Stewart says her ex-boyfriend signed a promissory note agreeing to pay 2 months' rent and the dog food bill for her pit bulls. She's suing for rent and dog food. Defendant Shannon Wallace says he doesn't owe any money because his ex kept the dogs, and her false accusations forced him to move out of the house.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Stewart versus Wallace.
Thank you, Juan. Lakeisha Stewart?
Yes, ma'am.
You are suing the defendant, Shannon Wallace?
Yes, ma'am.
For $580, $380 in back rent, and $200 for dog food?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, why don't we start with you and you tell me what's going on here?
I met Shannon at one of my friend's funeral. You know how, like, you dress in black to go to a funeral, right?
Sometimes.
He didn't come in there like that. He came in there starched jeans, jersey, hair braided, gold, thug. It turned me on. So I wanted to talk to him. So I went
gold
up.
What?
Had gold teeth in his mouth.
When was this?
This was in 06.
Okay. Are gold teeth still a thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Apparently so for you,
yeah,
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
For me, yeah.
So that caught my eye, and I wanted to talk to him. So I went up and started talking to him, and we hit it out from there. And we've been together since 06.
I was shocked that she tried to hit on me at a funeral, but me being me, you know, I'm a ladies' man, so, you know, I gave a little conversation. You know, I mean, one thing led to the next, and guess who we is, you know?
So what happened over the course of these 9 years? How did you end up here today?
I mean, I don't know. You tell me, Your Honor. I'm baffled, you know? I mean, it's like,
But you fell in love with her at some point?
Yeah, I did, and boom. Okay, with that being said, really, I mean, you know, I love this woman. You know what I'm saying? We've been together this long. She wasn't, and I don't mean this in a bad way, you know, please don't look at me wrong when I say this, but, you know, she wasn't my type of girl, you know, physically or whatever, you know, she wasn't my type of girl, but over the years,
Are you serious?
No, I don't mean it like that, but I grown to love her for who she is, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know, yeah, for real. So, I grown to love her. So, you know,
So initially you made a judgment call based on her looks, but as you got to know her, you fell in love with who she was on the inside as well as the outside.
I'm still, you know, still together until whatever this happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then, like, it's sometime in November of 2014. Some gave me the intuition that he was doing something he didn't have no business doing. So we was laying in the bed.
Oh, my. I was asleep, Your Honor.
We was laying in the bed.
I don't know what happened. I was asleep. Let her talk.
I seen a flash in a room, and I'm like, where that light come from? That's not my phone. It was his phone. So I had to ease on out the bed and get on my knees and start crawling to the side of his bed. So I got his cell phone, so I had to crawl on out the door to crawl to the living room. So I goes through his phone. What I see him talking to 2 females.
No.
So now I'm hot. So I goes back, this time I didn't crawl, I walked to the room. And I say, what is this? And I chunked the phone at him. And he denied, and I told him, what you do is you go get your stuff and get out of my house.
I'm the victim, Your Honor.
So then I say, he did pay his portion of the rent and stuff that month. So I say, I'm gonna be nice enough, you stay in the other room.
So you were also splitting the rent in this apartment where you were living in. He was paying half, you were paying half.
Yes.
Okay.
So I told him, you done paid your portion of the bills, you can go on and stay here for this month.
Was it true that you were having what she describes inappropriate conversations with women on Facebook?
No, Your Honor, it wasn't like that. Okay.
Well, you know God looking at you. Don't
yes,
story.
I know.
Don't story.
Your Honor, it's like this. It's like this, Your Honor. See, I can't control who messages me on Facebook. You get what I'm saying?
That's right.
But you don't have
that.
to talk back to them.
Miss Stewart, Miss Stewart.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Say, for instance, if you message me on Facebook, I'm gonna say, hey, how you doing? You
Don't
know,
put
I'm
me
just
in this
saying.
hypothetical.
Just saying, yeah, just hypothetical, of course. You know, I'm just saying, you know, but just because I message you back don't mean I'm having a relationship with you. You get what I'm saying?
Coming up, who gets the dogs after a divorce?
I have 2 dogs that he bought me. He called me last week saying that he was going to come get the dogs.
I want them back.
You're not going to get them back. And if he comes to my house and try to get them back, it's going to be a big fight and I'm going to call the laws. And he's going to go to jail because he's going to be on my property.
Oh, my goodness.
And later, friend today, gone tomorrow.
You were living with your boyfriend.
Yeah, we were living together, and we had broke up, and everything was in his name. And we broke up, and he cut everything off.
And so she put the utilities in her name, and the agreement was what?
Was that she could not pay the bill, then she would let me know, or she was going to be late.
And did that happen?
No, it did not.
Plaintiff Lakeisha Stewart says her ex-boyfriend signed a promissory note agreeing to pay her back. She's suing for rent and dog food. Defendant Shannon Wallace says he doesn't owe any money because his ex kicked him out of the home and refuses to let him take the dogs.
So in January, he got laid off his job. He still had nowhere to go. He got laid off his job. And he was like, I got laid off, but I got a new job that'll start next week, and I'll be able to pay you if you're going to pay my portion of rent for January. I said, okay, I have no problem with doing that because in the past, you have paid. So then he didn't pay nothing in January. February came around. Now I'm really mad. I'm finna kick him out. And he was like, well, I get my check next week, and I'm going to pay you for January and February then. I'm gonna get up on my feet and I'm gonna move out. He didn't pay nothing in February. So March came around. I threw him out.
What happened with rent? You didn't pay rent in January and February? You did not pay rent?
No, I did not. Yeah, I'm telling you, I didn't.
What do you say you have? A
I
statement?
have 2 dogs that he bought me. He called me last week saying that he was going to come get the dogs.
Yes,
now, remind you that we had these dogs since from a pup on up. I have a daughter. Them dogs protect me and my daughter.
I want them back.
You're not going to get them back. And if he comes to my house and try to get them back, it's going to be a big fight and I'm going to call the laws. And he's going to go to jail because he's going to be on my property. And it's just enough said.
Oh, my goodness.
You chose to keep the dogs. Why should he be paying for dog food?
Thank you.
This was the agreement that we paid. He paid for dog food. But now that I see that I'm not going to get, I had to pay for January and February because he wasn't gone. He left, Your Honor, and left the dogs there with me. So
well, you kicked him out. He didn't leave.
Well, okay.
Jeez,
but I had to buy dog food. I had to buy dog food for them. And if he going to come back and get them.
Okay, ma'am, you have not explained to me why he is legally responsible for paying for dog food.
Because he's supposed to pay for the dog food. I never supposed to pay for the dog food. I never paid for the dog food. He buys the dog food all the time. I just started
So then give him the
January.
dogs. If you want him to take care of the dogs, then give him the dogs. If you want to keep the dogs, you take care of the dogs.
Okay, well then, right is right, wrong is wrong. I get him 1 dog, and he paid me half of the dog food that I done bought, and I keep the other.
You guys can work that out amongst yourselves. Let me ask you something. Up until when you threw him out, were the 2 of you still romantically involved?
No.
How long had it been since the 2 of you actually officially broke up? You threw him out in March. When did you break up?
In December of 2014.
So legally, this is one of those murky kind of legal cases because the 2 of you lived together for so long. It's almost like a common law type of issue. You were together for 9 years. And although legally under the law, what you did is you performed an illegal eviction by kicking him out. This isn't the typical landlord-tenant type of relationship. So I'm going to assess, so if you were in housing court, right now, and you took her to housing court for illegally evicting you for non-payment of rent, what the court would do is mitigate the damages, look at both of the circumstances, and decide who should be paid what for what damages. So I've done that in this case, and I've decided, one, although you signed a contract that you would pay for dog food, I'm not going to order him to pay for any dog food. You kept the dogs, you have the dogs, and I can't order you not to pursue getting those dogs back, but I think probably in the best interest of resolving conflict between the two of you and in the best interest of her daughter, who I'm sure you now had a very long relationship with, and her daughter loves and cares for these dogs, my advice would be just to let it go, and especially if you know the dogs are being well taken care of. Okay, just be the bigger person if that's what it takes. But what I am going to order you to do is I am going to order you to pay those 2 months of rent in addition to court costs, okay? So verdict in this case for the plaintiff, $380. Good luck to both of you.
Plaintiff Morgan Profit says she felt sorry for her former friend when she put a utility and cable bill in her name, but then discovered it wasn't being paid. She's suing for unpaid bills. Defendant Randy Tenant says she doesn't owe any money because Morgan ruined their friendship when she cut off her utilities. She's countersuing for emotional distress. She's accompanied by Natasha Tenant.
Morgan Profit?
Yes.
You were suing the defendant, Brandy Tenant, for $648 for an unpaid utility and cable bill?
Yes.
And you were countersuing, ma'am, for $500 for emotional distress?
Yes.
And you brought a witness with you today, Natasha Tenant?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll start with you, Ms. Profit. Tell me what's going on. How do you know the defendant?
Well, we met in July 2013 when I got hired on at the same gas station that we work at, and we started hanging out a lot. We became very best friends very fast, and around August of 2013, her and her boyfriend had split up, and she had asked me if I would put my name in her utility bill because of an outstanding balance on her old one from a couple of years ago, and also
you said
a deductible.
no, right?
No.
Okay.
So I told her, you know, I thought it was kind of weird, but...
Why did you ask her to put your utility bill in her name?
Well, we were best friends, and I had, I had a prior bill, and he just, they got cut off all of a sudden, and I needed to have my power back on.
You were living with your boyfriend?
Yeah, we were living together, and we had broke up, and everything was in his name, and we broke up, and he cut everything off.
In your state, you're in Ohio, is it the gas and electricity, everything's together?
Yeah, it's all on one bill.
Okay, and why couldn't you get that bill in your name?
Because I owed a previous bill, it was over $600. I tried to get government assistance, but there was no assistance at the time. And I have no, close friends or family, and Morgan's like the closest thing that I have. So I asked her, just for as a friend-to-friend favor, and she agreed to it.
And so she put the utilities in her name, and the agreement was what?
Was that if she could not pay the bill, then she would let me know, or she was going to be late.
And did that happen?
No, it did not.
Coming up on Judge Faith, every betrayal begins with trust.
I didn't steal nothing from her. I still have the piece of paper today when we had the discussion about her health. I have her name, her social security number, her birth date.
You gave them all that information?
Yes. My mom's the one that said it was identity theft. I did not.
Don't do this again.
Plaintiff Morgan Profit says her former friend stopped paying a utility and cable bill. She's suing for unpaid bills. Defendant Randy Tenant says she doesn't owe any money because Morgan cut off her utilities. She's countersuing for emotional distress.
So everything was fine for about a year, and then October 27th, I heard from a mutual friend that she was behind on it and her utilities actually got cut off, and she had to pay like over $500 to even get it turned back on. So I had no idea what to do, so I went to my mom and asked her about it, and she said I need to get the bill out of my name. Well, she had those 4 kids still living with her.
Wait, what 4 kids?
My sister.
Those are my kids. I have 4 children.
Okay, so what was going on?
Me and my 4 children at the time, I was living at a place where the landlord ended up taking my money and skipping state. So I had to move in back with my sister. During that time, my sister had surgery done, and we was all trying to help each other out. But she was just basically trying to help me with my 4 kids to help me get on my feet.
So you're living together in this apartment?
Yes.
at no point can you pay back your back due utility bill and get this? How old are you?
I'm 20.
How old were you at the time?
19.
And you were?
30.
Even if in the very beginning, right, you needed some help and you went to her and said, hey, can you help me out? Can you put this bill in my name? Both of you were in the house. I'm assuming you're working.
At the time, I was a college student. So I was working and going to school, but I had to make the option.
And how old are you?
I am 31 now.
You're two grown adult women living in a household. Why do you have your bills in a 19-year-old's name for over a year?
Help at the time. I mean, financially, I was working at a gas station, and the money wasn't right. I was just making enough to, make it. With the $500, when it did get cut off, that wasn't just like from not paying the bills for months and months. That was actually a month. That's how high my utility bill was for a month.
Did you go to her and say, hey, I can't pay this bill?
No, I just, who wants to go to somebody and be like, I'm struggling? And they don't know what it's like to struggle.
Well,
they got mommy and daddy, and they don't know what it's like.
We had an agreement, though, about me putting
and you also knew the situation she was going through.
Oh, so let me understand this, sisters. So you're saying that this 19-year-old doesn't have the perspective that you all do as the more mature adult ones, right? Living as grown women, making your own decisions. Yeah, you know what? I actually agree with you on that. Because that's probably why you went to her in the first place, because you knew she was old enough to do it, but young enough to actually be silly enough to do it.
No, I didn't force her to do it. She knew my situation. It was a favor. It was a friend helping another friend.
Why is the cable bill in her name? Utilities, I understand, hey, I need my lights on. I have 4 kids living in the home. Why is the cable bill in her name? Don't tell me, well, Judge, I have to watch Empire on Wednesday nights. I need my cable. Cable is a luxury. Cable is a luxury. Why is the cable bill in her name?
I wanted cable when I could afford it at the time, so it was just a friend helping another friend. I would have done it for her.
No, you're taking advantage of her.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
What's your counterclaim about?
Well, I filed for emotional distress because when I did have surgery, the day after I came home I could have died. I have a picture of me being in the hospital. I had my gallbladder taken out, but before that had happened, and why I did get behind, I was missing days from work because of this. She was aware of my situation. Yep. So eventually I did go to the hospital. I had my gallbladder removed. I came home. 2 days later, I get a call from my landlord. The utility company called me. They said that they're cutting off your utilities said I was doing identity theft. I didn't steal nothing from her. I still have the piece of paper today when we had the discussion about her health. I have her name, her social security number, her birth date, everything I needed.
You gave them all that information?
Yes. My mom's the one that said it was identity theft. I did not.
Don't listen. Don't do this again.
Oh,
okay?
Yes, I know
As a matter of fact, I need to feel more comfortable about when you leave here today, your decisions that you're going to make going forward. If somebody comes to you and they say, I need some money, can you put a loan in your name and give me some money? What are you going to say?
No.
If somebody comes to you and they say, I need a cell phone, but I don't have the credit, would you get a phone from me in my name? What are you going to say?
No.
Okay. If they come to you and they say, can I borrow some money and I will pay you back when I get my income tax refund, what are you going to say?
I'm going to say no.
That's right. Judgment in this case for the plaintiff. Judgment in this case for the plaintiff, $648.33. Your counterclaim is dismissed. The two of you need to be ashamed of yourselves.